The next chapter in No Naked Walls is called Rioja Red, and this is chapter 16 from my book by me. There's a problem with alcohol. At what point do you refuse to offer a glass to a customer in the gallery? After all, it's not a licensed drinking establishment, but we still need to recognise when enough is enough, especially when it isn't closing a deal. It's a fine balancing act and may take years to perfect. My accountant keeps trying to say that wine isn't a justified expense on the annual balance sheet. I tell him it's a perfectly balanced way to run a gallery. A foreign gentleman walks in one day and asks outright if I want to buy some organic Spanish wine. He says it's from his sister's vineyard. I'm sort of interested, especially after he tells me his life story. We're talking here diamonds and other precious gems, Africa, guns, converting to the Christian faith while living in the Middle East, and the desire to open a sherry and port bar in the city. It all sounds plausible, if exotic, but I still want to try the wine before buying it. Sensible, eh? He turns and walks out the gallery door without a reply. So be it. He's back in a bit, carrying 3 bottles. He also has a glass decanter, corkscrew, and very large wine glasses. So, he says, let us try the wine. The first bottle is a young vintage, and personally, I don't like it at all. This is a bit rough, I tell him, but he doesn't bat an eyelid. He casually opens the next bottle. This is a 6-year-old wine with a fuller body and superb cherry flavours. It's a deep, full-blown cracker of a bottle. Now, I like this one, I say. And he nods without commenting himself. Then he opens the third bottle and tries it first. This wine is for you, he says at last. I try the wine. It's magnificent. It has a bouquet that smacks of the expensive, a taste to match, and a nice label. How many boxes would you like? There's only one simple, obvious question. How much are they, I ask. I want £20 a box, but you have to take several. This is an incredible deal for once, and I don't question either provenance or price, although at the back of my mind I do wonder if his sister actually exists. If there's a problem, we'll just drink the evidence. How many boxes of number 3 do you have? They're not stolen, are they, I ask. He looks marginally offended. My sister really owns the vineyard, and I want to get rid of the lot and do something else with the money. A quick calculation is followed by the problem of where I'm going to store several hundred bottles of wine. It's a nice problem to have. We decide on 2 shipments of 50 boxes each of number 3 and number 2, a total of 200 boxes of superb wine for cash on delivery. Sure enough, he returns at 4 o'clock with the first shipment. Belinda announces that she can't be expected to carry boxes, and Julie installs herself behind the desk to make some phone calls. I love the selling incentive. Hump wine or sell art. After all, we're an art gallery. I take off my jacket, drape it over a chair, and prepare for action. The vintner wheels them in, 6 boxes at a time. And as you can imagine, it takes some time to unload. The back of the gallery fills up and takes on the appearance of a warehouse. I pay him cash, trusting the contents of each box, and then make a few calls to friends to see if they'd like some wine. Actually, it turns out to be a fantastic deal. I make a few bob, and I keep enough back to last the year. The trouble materialising is that we're all spoilt with the quality, and several customers keep on coming in for the odd snifter, far too often. I'm not sure how to discourage that. So, anyway, with the gallery well stocked with wine and some great new pieces of glass and art, it's a nice sunny afternoon, and the chap walks in wanting to buy some glass. It should be a simple case of sell, have a drink, wrap said goods, take the money and say goodbye. What could be easier? Alas, this isn't going to happen. He sits down to a taste of my newly acquired stock. So far, so good. But then he begins to tell his life story. He's been abandoned by his wife for a younger man, and although he's kept his glass collection, she's stripped him of his records, books and plants, and he's devastated. The final straw is that she took the cat as well. You do have to listen to all this and be totally compassionate. Perhaps Wednesdays should become designated sit on the couch and tell sessions. Belinda's losing interest, bless her, and her advice is that he could get another cat. Back in a minute, she says. We need milk. I'm left having to listen to this chap pour out his heart. Oh, have another glass of wine, I suggest. He proceeds to go into detail about which records have been taken from him. Then another customer comes in, puts down the shopping and sits in the second chair. "Hi, my name's Jenny." She offers her hand whilst in full flow. "Steve," he replies and shakes her hand quite hard. This is going to be fun. "How are you, Jenny? Would you like a glass of wine?" You know that moment when you feel like you just don't exist in the room? Well, these two are just chatting away as if on a first date. They don't stop talking, or for that matter, drinking. Now, as you might think, that I'm making up the next part, but I swear this is true. After 3 glasses and 40 minutes of non-stop chatter, Jenny leans over and snogs Steve's brains out. I mean, there and then, in the gallery, and in front of me. Well, at least his record collection's now taking a back seat. They don't come up for air, and they continue to kiss and cuddle. Belinda walks in. She's been gone ages. Where did she go for the milk? She looks at the couple, then looks at me, shrugs her shoulders and heads off into the kitchen. Pardon me for interrupting, I say slightly louder than normal. Don't you two lovers think you should book in across the road, as I really don't think you can take any more of this any further. They stop and turn and look at me. What a great idea. Jenny squeezes him tight. Shall we? I'll collect my purchases later if that's okay, Steve says, looking somewhat dishevelled. Fine, grab the moment. I swear he's looking at me as if to ask permission. Then they both walk out hand in hand, off to continue their tempestuous first date. Well, I told Belinda, at least he stopped talking about his records and that cat. Yuck, that was so gross. How could she do that? And they're so old, she says. I choose not to reply to her ageist attitude. There, but for the grace of God. This next chapter is called Sticky Treacle Brown. My opinion of installation art. It's something that isn't for sale and usually bears no sense of commercial reality. It has its place in museums and art galleries and usually funded by our taxes, and provokes reactions and discussions within the art establishment. Or in simpler terms, it's a load of rubbish with hours spent producing something that, when finished, usually ends up wrapped and stored and never seen again till it's discarded on a dip. I find myself invited to a degree show. In fact, I get invited to many degree shows at various universities around the country, and most of them I decline as basically they're too far away and too much effort to travel at the end of a gallery day. However, local shows are worth supporting. I suppose you have to look out for future talent lurking amongst the dross. By dross, I refer to the cards carrying hundreds of words explaining the artist's sentiment of a piece, trying to justify the bland workmanship hanging beside it, or the usual reclaimed stuff littered around like decomposing dinosaurs wanting to be left alone, usually wrapped in resins or sheets, or in some cases both. But at this particular degree show, I end up not just close to the art, but almost in it. Stumbling over an electric lead which has been inadequately gaffer taped down, I fall fully prostrate beside a tray of brown, sticky stuff. I could have easily enhanced the installation by falling flat into the whole shebang, but luckily not this time. Rising from the middle of the treacle liquid pond are several metal spikes with flowers attached. They are faded brown and very dejected, or, simply putting it, dead. They remind me of visiting the tar pits in California as a teenager, but in truth this is far less going for it. I'm curious why anyone would produce such work after 4 years studying for a degree. The principal of the college strolls up to find out what I think of the show. I really want to say, I'm totally underwhelmed by the restraint, but I keep myself quiet and I ask him what he thinks of the treacle bath. She's amazing, don't you think? He launches into a monologue about how society is glued together but spread thinly across the world in which only a few will escape and thrive. I try to look interested, but my brain is saying one word: cobblers. You must meet her. Natalia, come over here. A tall, stunning, good-looking student saunters across with the air of a cheater about to pounce. She has long blonde hair, tight-fitting black jumper and a pair of sprayed-on white jeans. How do you do, she says in a deep voice, offering me a hand. She has piercing blue eyes. I'm Natalia. Who are you? This is a girl on a mission. I own a gallery in the city, I reply. Then I want to show my art in your gallery. I shall come and see what your place is like and decide what I need. It amazes me to hear her express such a complete and total expectation of being allowed to exhibit. I've never shown installation art, but you're welcome to come and visit. I'll come with my boyfriend in the morning. Then just like that, she walks off, dismissing me. Told you she was great, the principal smiles. Do I detect a spring in his step? I begin to conjure up scenarios, none of them legal. Is he having a fling with this dangerously seductive student? A few bottles of sponsored beer later, and I decide my brain has been tortured enough, and I aim for the exit. Standing outside with a cigarette perched on the bottom lip is Natalia. We could have some fun, you know, she exhales and blows smoke in my face. Really? I can't help choking. My boyfriend loves to photograph me. He loves to watch. The intrigue grows by the minute. Okay, well, come by tomorrow around 11, I say, and I get a taxi home. The next day, at precisely 30 minutes late, a small, timid, bearded chap, denim-covered head to toe, including a peak cap, edges into the gallery holding a video camera. Please don't say anything until she speaks, he says quietly. I look at him in disbelief and nod. A couple of minutes later, in strides Natalia in a gold metallic 1950s style ball gown and with a huge train. She walks past everything, stops, twirls around and stares at me. Then nothing. Absolutely nothing. I hear my brain whirring. What's going on? Action, says Denim Boy, and slowly but surely Natalia steps out of a gown in the middle of the gallery and stands there motionless in a black bodice with fishnet hold-ups. I really think you should come over here and dance me round the gallery, she says. Excuse me, but this is an art gallery open to the public, and as amusing as it might seem, I don't think dancing around with a semi-naked woman will do much for business. In reality, I might be tempted, but when all's said and done, we're a shop, not a cabaret venue, and I'm a dreadful dancer. Grab him, goes Denim Boy, and Natalia steps in and jumps up, locking her legs around my torso and grabbing me tightly with her arms. My God, she's a strong lass. Now we shall do it, here and now. He loves to watch, and I want to please him. Isn't he a munchkin? Is this candid camera? I think I'm being set up. Where's the audience? Nobody comes to my rescue, and Natalia keeps hanging on for some action. You're going to disappoint him, and I'm getting very, very horny. That's wonderful, but this is neither the time nor the place for the pair of you to perform. He's not going to perform. We are. Well, one question then. Hurry up, Natalia pants. What's the setup with you and the principal? Oh, nothing. He hasn't got the stamina for anything adventurous. I'm sure gallery owners are far better, don't you agree? She has a point there. But I'm afraid having Denim Boy filming everything is my idea of fun. Call me old-fashioned, if you will. Here's the deal, I say. No camera, no open hours, no audience, and you're welcome to find out what a gallery owner can do. I can do that, but Milo would get jealous and he'd be so upset. I live in a different world, I conclude. No filming, no show. In that case, it looks like you won't be exhibiting your installation here in my gallery. Sorry to disappoint you. Milo decides to speak. Got it all! Fantastic shoot, thank you! Are you for real or what? I just love fantasy ideas and you were brilliant, mister. Wait till you see the finished film. I assume you'll let me show this at college. We could even have a viewing here one evening if you like. Natalia smiles and sheepishly adds, the principal said he'd be perfect and would add realism to the part. What about the installation? Oh, that rubbish? I hate pretentious art. I'm a drama student. It's so much more challenging. Game, set and match. Before they leave, I ring the college. Peter, you're a bastard. But you know what? I'm up for it. After all, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. Thanks, Mr. Wild. Oh, and by the way, they can have their film show in the gallery too. Bye. Okay, you two. Just for good measure. Let's have a glass of wine to celebrate. Thank you very much.